Well, Dusty, I loved watching those reruns of Ready, Steady, Go, but for you, what was it like watching yourself 20 years ago?
Actually, I agree with you. I mean, I love it too. I'm very fortunate to be on quite a few of them because I did so many of them. But some of them are absolutely hysterical. For instance, that snip we just saw, I'll never know to this day how I made it to the bottom of the stairs because it was pitch black. I mean, no one thought about things like that.
You were tremendously successful, 17 hits on the trot, and then you took off and left the music scene here. Why?
Well, any comparison I can draw is that the Springfields were very successful too. And we have a way of seeing the writing on the wall. We wanted to split up while we were at the top. And in the same feeling, I had the same feeling about my career here. I couldn't see it actually going any further. I had met all the challenges I felt.
But you seem to be at the peak of your career. So many hits.
I would say that I peaked, and there was no room. There was no more room to go anywhere. I mean, I'd met all the personal challenges in this country, and there's a whole world out there.
Every time you've either come back here briefly or made a single, you've always seemed to have a very loyal following. Who are these Dusty Springfield fans that are always there?
They're everybody from 8 years old to 80 years old. And what fascinates me most of all is that a lot of kids show up who could not possibly have known my earlier work, which I found fascinating. It's sort of like for some reason they're into a retro situation or a nostalgia thing, and they've been told to listen to the people who were in the 60s, I think.
Now, in some of the articles I've read about you, the interviews you've given recently, you say that you've also had a very solid gay following.
Absolutely.
Is that in America and here, or just in America?
I'd say it's more intense here, because everything, I think, is more intense here. One is more visible, there's more connection to an immediate audience. In the States, it's so widespread. But that gay following has been very loyal to me when there was absolutely no product. I mean, to reach the ordinary viewer or the ordinary record buyer, you have to have consistent product. The danger of having a very strong gay following is that it becomes just a cult, and if you're not very careful, you become a cult figure. I think that to a certain extent I am.
And why do you think they were so loyal?
I think it's because they recognize I'm a drama queen, and maybe there are other drama queens out there. I think there's, particularly in the ballads, there's some sensitivity perhaps in my singing that the gay population picks up on.
And what about the speculation everywhere, I have to admit, that about your own sexuality?
I get that all the time.
You get that? And does it upset
They
you?
always say, "Are you gay?" And I always say, "Only on Wednesdays."
And do you, I mean, you seem to just shrug it off now. What, I mean, does it upset you at all?
It did at first, and when people are nasty about it, I think it's very hard, somewhat arrogant to say, you know, that's none of anyone's business. Because, I mean, if you're a public figure, they're going to make assumptions, and they are going to write. And when you don't give them any information, they're going to make assumptions.
And you say they've been nasty about it. Has this happened a lot?
They can be. They can be. And I think one of the reasons that propelled me out of England is that I had no private life whatsoever.
And now you're back, and what are we going to see from you in the future?
Well, this record is only just out, so, and it's getting a lot of play, and I think it's going to do quite well. I don't see it as a major smash hit, but some other people think differently.
Are you going to actually perform? Are we going to see you, Dusty Springfield, as we saw on Ready, Steady, Go?
Not quite the same as you saw on Ready, Steady, Go, but possibly. In the spring, I think I need to do some concerts. I was hoping to do them this year, but what I need to do is get back in the recording studio, get some more product together. And so then when I do the shows, I don't just have to rest on the old stuff, I can do some new stuff too.
Is there the same thrill about singing, recording, performing as there was 20 years ago?
Thrill is a strange word. I think thrill comes with live performances, and I won't really know that until I get out there and do it. The fact is that I'm looking forward to doing it is a sign to me that there will be some thrill. I hate recording. I've always hated recording, but it's a dirty job, but someone has to do it.
Right. And coming back 20 years later, do you think there's been a change in the music business so that it's in any way easier for a woman performer now than it was then?
I think women in general in the music business get more respect, and more, their ideas are listened to more now than they were. I mean, when I first, although I never really had a lot of problem because I would scowl a lot and I'm very willful, so I got my way a lot. But I had to work hard to get that. There were conditions I wanted, demands I wanted met, that only sheer willpower got. If I hadn't had that drive and I hadn't scowled that much, being a woman, I would not have got them.
But it's not so necessary to scowl now.
It's not as I do it automatically, but I find it that with the advent of people like Carly Simon and more women singer-songwriters and musicians, the demands are the same on the glamour level. In fact, even more so with the integration of the fashion industry. But the women are listened to more.
That's interesting. You say they're even more so.
Yes.
Really? Because some people would have thought it moved away from that.
Depending upon what kind of music you sing. If you wear a T-shirt and jeans and you look good in that, and that's your image, then perhaps the demands are not as much. But if you essentially will always remain with somewhat of a glamour image, i.e. Diana Ross or something, the demands are extraordinarily hard.
Dusty, I've really enjoyed talking to you. Why don't you stay around in the studio now and watch our next film report?
I enjoyed it too.